Your second video is on what we call function notation. Now, believe it or not, you probably already know how to use function notation, but you've just never known the name. Okay, function notation. What this means is it emphasizes the dependent relationship between the variables used in the function. That's the math definition. Now, what does it really mean? If we have determined that we have a function, so either it passes the vertical line test or each input has only one output, then we can write it in what is called function notation. Function notation looks like y equals f of x. Okay, so we say f of x. We can replace the y in the equation with f of x. They mean the same thing. So, when you have an equation written as y, so let's say, we'll just do an example. Let's say that we have that y equals 2x. Okay, what do we know about this graph? Well, we know it's linear, so it's going to be a line. So if a line intersects with a vertical line, it's only going to cross it one time. So this means this is a function. So we can say the y equals becomes f of x equals 2x, which means that we know 2x is indeed a function. So, let's try this out. How do we use function notation? Well, we have this function that f of x is equal to 3x squared minus 6. So, we know this is a function by, if we graph it, or if we made a table, we would find it is a function. And what are we going to do with function notation? Well, we are going to evaluate these functions. So, when this says find f of 8, well, notice what did this 8 replace? It replaced the x. So, to find f of 8, that means that we're going to plug 8 in for x. So we're going to have 3 times 8 squared minus 6. So we know that 8 squared gives us 64. So we have 3 times 64 minus 6. Well, 3 times 64 would give us 192. I did that in my head. You might want to check my math. Then minus 6. So, in the end, we're going to write this as f of 8 is equal to, and 192 minus 6 gives us 186. So, we're evaluating. Okay, try f of negative 2. So 2 times negative 2 squared minus 6. So that means we have 2 times negative 2 squared gives us 4 minus 6, which gives us 8 minus 6. So we will say that f of negative 2 is equal to 2. All right. Now the next one's a little bit tricky. We want to know what is f of x plus 3. So this time, instead of plugging in a numerical value for x, we're going to plug in x plus 3, which means we're going to end up leaving it in terms of a variable. So let me clear this writing so I can have a fresh start here. So f of x plus 3 is going to be equal to 3 times x plus 3 squared minus 6. Now, the trick is, do you remember what this x plus 3 squared means? That means we have 3 times x plus 3 times x plus 3. So when we see these two binomials like that, we need to FOIL. So we have 3 times, we're going to do our first term, so x squared. Our outside term, oops, that's not our outside, sorry. Outside would be x times 3, so 3x. We're going to do our inside terms, which is 3x again. And then our last term, which gives us 9. Alright, well now, following order of operations, what should you do? You got it. Oops, let's first combine like terms, sorry. So 3 times x squared plus 6x plus 9 minus 6. So now we distribute. So 3x squared plus 18x plus 27 minus 6. And then our last part would be combining, like terms. So f of x plus 3 equals 3x squared plus 18x plus 21. A little bit longer, but still we're just plugging it in. Okay, and the last thing is we need to find x when f of x equals 6. So this is going to take a little bit of solving. If we know that f of x equals 3x squared minus 6, well, we know f of x equals 6, so we're going to put that in for f of x. Equals 3 times x squared minus 6. Okay. We need to add 6 to both sides, just solving for x. So 12 equals 3x squared. Divide by 3. So 4 equals x squared. You remember how to get rid of a square? We square root. When we square root, we put plus or minus in front. So plus or minus 2. So we're just doing some basic math right now. How about if we have a picture? Could you find f of 0? Well, that means that 0 is our x value. So we want to know what is our y value of this ordered pair. So if we go to 0 on our x-axis, we would go until we hit our function, and we hit it at 4. So 0, 4 is our point. How about f of 1/2? Same thing. Go to 1/2 on our x-axis. Notice it counts by 2, so here's our 1/2. And we go up, and I would say that's probably 3 1/2. So we'll say 3.5. And our last one, f of -2. So go to -2, go up till we hit our function, +2. There you go. So we can use it by evaluating it, by plugging it in, or using a graph. Alright, last part, we gotta do some word problems. But you guys are already awesome at writing these functions, so it won't be bad. A local photo shop will develop and print the photos from a disposable camera for 27 cents per print. Okay, so how could we write a function? Well, y is going to be equal to our cost, while x is going to be your number of prints. So we could say that y equals 0.27x. What's the value of our function if we put in 24? Well, because this is a function, we know that it's f of x equals 0.27x. So we want to know what is f of 24. So let's slide over to the calculator here real quick. It's not going to let me. Okay. I'm going to grab a calculator. So plugging that in, we discover that it is going to cost us $6.48. So f of 24 is $6.28. I'm not sure what's going on here. But that is the end of our next video. So hopefully you understand function notation. We're just replacing y with f of x, and we're just plugging in that value to evaluate our function.